Hi, my name is Tina Paniqui and welcome to Doorways. And I today, one of the doorways I want to talk to you about or discuss is your value. And your value at work is not what you think. And I think most of us have been taught from a very young age that the wrong thing about value, actually. And we're taught that our value at work comes from effort. So more effort equals more value. More work harder, not smarter, more value. And that could be from the number of hours that you work. It could be from how busy you are. It could be, your values through being reliable. It could be that you're just being told to get on with it. So we work harder, basically. And we stay later. We take on more. We don't complain. We don't ask for pay rises. We apologise for needing space for time or clarity. And for a while, it works. And again, something I've done a lot in the past, an awful lot. Until you reach a point where you're exhausted and strangely invisible at the same time. And what I've seen time and time again is that effort isn't actually what creates impact. Presence does, clarity does, boundaries do. People don't respond to how hard you're trying, they respond to how steady you are. And as somebody who in the past has worked incredibly hard to save people in terms of their jobs, save them getting into trouble, trust me when I say to you, I deeply know now that is not the right way to do it, and it is not the right way to manage, and it's not the right way to be valued. Value has to come from yourself to start off with. How much do you value yourself, and how do you position yourself so that you don't give everything of you away? It's value is about bringing calm instead of urgency, and that's something I didn't always understand. I thought if I just explained myself better, if I worked a bit harder, if I stayed more helpful, if I stayed available, then value would follow. But what actually changed things wasn't more effort, it was about me stopping, and this is a long time ago, stopping the over-explaining, stopping the constant proving, stopping the belief that being exhausted was a badge of honour. That wasn't a long time ago, that was a year ago. And I've watched people shift entire rooms without saying very much at all. Not because they were louder, not because they were more qualified, not because they were more anything really. They were just grounded, and they trusted their own judgment, and they didn't rush to fill the silence. They didn't apologise for having a view about something. And people responded immediately, and that's where money gets confused. So we're told, directly or indirectly, that more effort should equal reward, that it isn't how, that's not how true value actually works. The most valued people in a room are rarely the busiest ones. They're the ones who bring perspective, they bring clarity, they bring emotional intelligence and steadiness, they bring honesty. That's what changes direction. And that's what businesses pay for, whether they realise it or not. That it doesn't mean that work suddenly becomes easy and that there still aren't difficult conversations. There's still responsibility, there's still pressure at times, but there's a difference between weight and strain. And when you're rooted in your own value, the strain reduces even when the work matters. And I don't apologise for clarity anymore. I don't. My method of management in the last 6 months has changed dramatically. In fact, I don't even know that person I was a year ago. It's not the same person. It really isn't. So I don't apologise for my clarity anymore, because I don't take responsibility for how somebody receives it. As long as I operate from a honest point of view, that I choose my words and I keep centred around kindness and boundaries, and speak from my heart, even in business, I speak from my heart now. My whole management style, and therefore the results of my management style, have dramatically changed. So clarity isn't about being cold. You can deliver a message very clearly, but with warmth. Boundaries aren't rejection. Boundaries have to start with you. Presence isn't arrogance, and they're all signals. And if you've been trying to know your worth to output, so hours to effort or sacrifices, then this isn't a criticism. It truly isn't, as somebody who's done it a lot herself in the past. But it is an invitation, and it's an invitation to notice what exactly shifts with the people who are around you when you walk into a room, when you operate from that position, when you truly value yourself first and foremost, when you operate with clarity, when you don't try to be what everybody else is trying to get you to be. What would change, and I invite you to ask this question, what would change if I trusted my presence more than my effort? And that is another doorway.